What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you week 3 of season 2 of the APA Academy, and this week we are up against Blin and his Canberra Cradilys. And before I get into the team, just a reminder that if you guys like this video, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button, as it helps us out a ton, and let's do more cool stuff for you guys. But anyway, on to the team. Like I said, we are up against Blin, who I will link in the description. I encourage you guys to check out his channel and his side of the battle, and his team consists of Groudon, Dawnwings Necrozma, Zeraora, Hydreigon, Rabombi, Mega Venusaur, Alomomola, Buzzwole, Stakataka, Delphox, Archeops, and Kecleon. And right off the bat, this is a super tricky matchup. Now, a little bit of background on this game. I was trying to play, I believe it's 3 weeks worth of games in the span of 7 days. So I was already really pressed for time as it was due to finals and optometric conferences. And so, I mean, the people at the APA, the mods, were super accommodating in giving me extensions. So I give big shout outs to them, as well as my opponents. I believe it was Shy last week, and then Blin I had to play immediately after. So didn't have a ton of time to come up with a team and wow, I can't even talk. And to add on to that, this is a very tricky matchup. So I mean, it was more of a, okay, this is a tricky matchup, I don't have time to like test it out or like try to build as I normally do. So it was one of those things like, yeah, this is tough, I'll just bring some fun stuff and then hope it ends up working out. So yeah, this is the team that I am bringing. If you might look at the team and be like, wow, this team is actually crap, Sticks, you missed this, you left yourself wide open to such and such. Yeah, that's about right. This was just kind of a fun team that I threw together just with some sets that are either personal favorites or ones that I've been wanting to run for a little while, or even just your cookie cutter crap. But anyway, the first mon that I am bringing is going to be a Dialga with Flash Cannon, Draco Meteor, Toxic, and Earth Power with the Chople Berry. This is for the Zeraora, who is otherwise a very big threat to my team. And I don't even remember, quite frankly, I don't remember what the EVs were. It was kind of a quick build that I ended up just, I think this one was for, I think it was for Modest Necrozma, I want to say, but I mean, if that's incorrect, then it's probably something else, but it feels like Modest Necrozma would make sense on this set. But like I said, this is mainly for the Zeraora, just to be a check to that when I am at full. Next up is going to be the very standard Choice Scarf Victini with V-Create, Bolt Strike, U-Turn, and Flare Blitz. Just, I mean, covers his team pretty nicely. And the fact that U-Turn can get me momentum against certain things, as well as with the sun up, then V-Create can just absolutely nuke even potential resistances. Granted, Alomomola does kind of stop this thing cold, but I do have ways of potentially taking advantage of Alomomola on the rest of my team. So yeah, just a super straightforward Victini. The speed is enough for Hydreigon. Next up is going to be a 4 attacks Shaman with Seed Flare, Air Slash, Dazzling Gleam, and Earth Power. This was one of those that like I couldn't figure out what other mons to bring besides like I think the 4 mons that I knew I wanted to bring were Dialga, Victini, Gengar, and Zygarde. Zygarde and Dialga are coming to every game because this is an Ubers League, and it's kind of like the Coco thing with Jolt, where he said, yeah, even if they aren't good in a matchup, you still bring them because of just how inherently amazing they are. So yeah, the 2 Ubers are always coming, and then Victini and Gengar were 2 kind of givens, but then the Shaman and the Mesprit were kind of the fill-in mons that I was like, okay, I need 2 more, what can I do with it? Yeah, screw it, Shaman looks good. Gives me a Precipice Blade switch in, and then just kind of covers his team nicely. Yeah, Mega Venusaur walls completely. I almost said something that would have gotten me demonetized. But yeah, Mega Venusaur walls me pretty bad. So that's just kind of a, well, whatever. I have a Victini, I have a Mesprit, I can probably work around that. But yeah, the Shaman, just a nice little quick guy for the Groudon. And then just 4 attacks to have good coverage against his team. Next up is going to be my personal favorite Gengar set in a sub-split Shadow Ball Focus Blast Gengar. Like, this is honestly my favorite Gengar set in general, just because, I mean, it's something that, like, Gengar, you don't normally think of it with recovery. With sub, it becomes much more difficult to revenge, and then all of a sudden, when you have the perfect coverage of Shadow Ball and Focus Blast, it becomes stupidly hard to switch into. So I love this Gengar set, especially with Pain Split, being able to damage an opposing Pokemon while also putting me back at a good amount of HP. And yeah, just very straightforward sub split. I believe the speed is for, this was like a really random creep. I didn't bother tying Archeops because I never win speed ties anyway. And also I kind of sort of have a Zygarde for Archeops, so it's not too big of a threat. But I think I was speed creeping something, speed creeping me, speed creeping Delphox. Like, that was a very, very aggressive creep, but that's ultimately what I went with my Gengar. Next up is going to be a Mesprit with Stealth Rock, Psychic, Knockoff, and U-Turn. This is for the Necrozma, just to be a one-time switch-in, because even though Knockoff is not going to do jack to it, it's still just kind of a, okay, well, let's try to maybe wear you down a little bit, have a one-time switch-in, maybe knock off an item, maybe like a Specs or a Life Orb or something to that effect. I mean, it's not probably going to be Colbur, because let's be real, Dawnwing's Necrozma with Colbur makes a lot of sense. So that's ultimately what I went with the Cassid Berry, so I can take one Moongeist Beam. I can't take two, I can take one. And so it just was kind of a, well, I don't have any switch-ins to that thing. I could bring my Porygon 2, which would make a lot more sense, but whatever. And finally, we have the Zygarde with Extreme Speed, Core Enforcer, 1000 Arrows, and Dragon Dance. This is just a mixed Zygarde with Core Enforcer to be able to 2-hit KO the Buzzwole, who otherwise is a gigantic nuisance for Zygarde, and ultimately can stop it completely cold if it's able to switch in and I don't have any special attacks. And you might be wondering, Styx, why are you not bringing Mega Maw? His team has no switch-ins to it. That's a good question. That is a very good question. I'm looking at this team and I'm like, how did I not put Mega Maw and P2 in these two slots? Well, I mean, I kind of wanted Stealth Rock on my Mesprit, and Shaman was just kind of one that I hadn't brought yet. So I was like, screw it. I can bring Mega Maw and P2 if we play again later. But these guys just, I mean, no, at the time they seemed to put enough pressure. So yeah, that is the team, and let's just hope that the fun team can come through. I really do think that this is still a fun team, but it can put a ton of offensive pressure on him. So yeah, let's just go ahead and hop right on into the battle. Alrighty, here we are in the battle, and the first thing I'm noticing is that there is no Mega Venusaur and there is no Alomomola, both of which were decisions that really, really puzzled me. But considering his team does not have a single switch into Victini, I mean, Victini was already really looking to be in a very, very strong position from, I mean, even just the team matchup. But now that he doesn't have his one resist, or his two resistance, but Delphox isn't a resist. Now that he doesn't have his one real resist, Victini is looking to be in a much, much better situation. So, I mean, I'm just going to lead right off with that thing. I mean, he does have the Ribombee, Stakataka. I mean, like, he has a bunch of threats. And I'm thinking that, oh crap, he brought Sticky Web. Oh, well, I mean, like, that was one of the things that when you just say screw it and build whatever, that's something that you overlook. So I mean, it's definitely something that I overlooked, but I was like, whatever. Victini has the Choice Scarf, so I should be able to at least do something in this game. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to lead with my Victini, and let's just jump right on into it. So like I said, I'm going to be leading off with my Victini as it just matches up well against everything. I have the Scarf, and only a Scarf Zeraora will be able to outspeed me. So that is exactly what I'm going to do, as he does lead off with his Ribombee. So he's 100% a Focus Sash, Sticky Webs lead. So I'm like, whatever, I can just like U-turn into Gengar or do something. But it was at this point that I realized that I had two moves on my Victini. I did not bother to check my team beforehand. That is completely my fault. Like 100% that's on me. But I screwed up something with PK Hex, and so my Choice Scarf Victini has only Flare Blitz and U-turn when V-Create in this game basically just claims a kill, like almost no questions asked because of being scarfed. So I mean, if I was already kind of feeling apathetic towards this game from the get-go, the fact that my main win con has only two moves just kind of put me in like a, well, alright, well, this is going to be a rough game. So I mean, instead of trying to save my Victini, I mean, I'll admit, I had no switch-ins for this thing regardless, but I probably would have saved my Victini if it had all its moves, because against like the Buzzwole or something like that, or maybe even the Zeraora later, I could have just gone for V-Create and claimed one against something. But as it stands, I sack my Victini. At the very beginning of the game, he has Sticky Web up. I have no way of outspeeding this Necrozma after Sticky Web goes up. And so, I mean, like, that's just kind of unfortunate. I mean, the only saving grace is that I have a little bit of damage on it. And I'm going to go for the Stealth Rock right here. Or I'm going to go for the Knockoff first, sorry. Because I wanted to be able to 2-hit KO the Necrozma. I wouldn't be able to 1-hit KO it because Mesprit is really weak. but I would be able to 2-hit KO it while living a Moongeist Beam. But now that the Stack Attacker comes in, it's confirmed Z, so I know it's going to be a Trick Room set. I'm going to go for my Stealth Rock as he does set up the Trick Room, and now I'm going to go straight into my Dialga because he has no reason to not click the Gyro Ball. And this coming turn with Dialga, I'm thinking that, okay, if you bring a Stack Attacker, well, first of all, he brought Trick Room plus Sticky Web, so that's kind of sus to begin with. But if you bring Stack Attacker and I have a Dialga, you are not going, and you already have Sticky Web up, you're not going to have no way of OHKOing Dialga. So I'm thinking he has to have Groundium Z or Phytinium Z with Superpower or Earthquake to be able to one-shot my Dialga. So that's why I pulled the switch back into my Mesprit, because I'm thinking, okay, are you just going to give Dialga free and easy Trick Room against your team that has 0 switch-ins? And turns out he does not have the Groundium or the Phytinium. He was just prepared to give Dialga full turns under Trick Room after I KO'd the Stack Attacker. So that was kind of like well, that's really crappy because Mesprit also takes a ton of damage from the get-go. So I mean, like, at this point, I'm just kind of like, I mean, I'm still playing it out because, I mean, it's gonna be a close game just because it's offense versus offense. But at this point, I'm just kind of like, whatever happens, happens. I leave Dialga in to take the Earthquake as I go for the Earth Power, and fortunately for me, it will be able to KO the Stack Attacker. But I mean, really at this point, Mesprit took a huge unnecessary hit. Dialga took a huge hit as well when I could have given it just free Trick Room, because once I KO'd the Stack Attacker, something would have died to Draco if not gotten, or else gotten absolutely chunked like crazy. But as it stands, he does end up still having, he ends up just giving me Trick Room, but I don't capitalize, and he is able to knock me out with the close combat. So yeah, this game is just not going my way. My Dialga does go down. It confirms that this Zero Aura is attack boosting, and not just attack boosting, but an item boosting as well. So it's not just like Adamant or something like that. It's Adamant plus like Band or like Fist Plate or E-Belt or something like that. But I am going to go into my Zygarde, and considering he still has a full health Buzzwole, I'm going to go straight for my Core Enforcer, as I should be able to 2-hit KO this thing on the switch-in, and that is exactly what he goes into. So yeah, I mean, Core Enforcer is one of the coolest Wi-Fi animations that I've ever seen, and like moves like this are exactly the reason that I am doing Wi-Fi, just because even though you have so much less information than you do on Smogon, and in my opinion it's like Wi-Fi is less competitive, it's like you're doing it for the entertainment value, and Core Enforcer in and of itself is plenty of entertainment. I'm going to go straight into my Gengar, as he's probably going to go for the Ice Punch, which is exactly what he is going to do. And then I'm going to fire off a Shadow Ball, as like, whatever, if he wants to knock me out with Earthquake, then that's fine. I have Mesprit, I can just come in and fire off a Psychic to knock this thing out. But turns out he doesn't have anything else to hit Gengar with that's better than Ice Punch, so he's just going to go for that. I am going to disable it, and I will go for the Shadow Ball, which will knock out the Buzzwole. So I mean, that's one thing down, and I mean, it's 4-3. I have Rocks up. He has, unfortunately, Sticky Web up. Like, if he didn't have Sticky Web, then I did, like, win the game, because as soon as I get to +1 with Zygarde, which I do very easily against the Groudon and the Necrozma, I should be in a really good position. But he is able to go into his Zero Aura and knock me out with the HP Ice. And this was a really tricky turn. I was thinking of, do I go into Shaman or do I go into Zygarde at this point? Because I know I'll be able to live in HP Ice with Zygarde, which is ultimately what I decide to do. While Shaman, I was like, okay, if I'm going to end up winning this, sorry if you guys can hear the helicopter, I'm by the hospital, so that's just kind of how it goes. But if I am going to win this, Shaman is probably going to have to take a Fire Punch from a Groudon at some point, and hopefully it's not like Adamant Max Attack, because otherwise I just die. But Zygarde will go for the 1,000 Arrows, knock out the Zero Aura, and actually, as it turns out, I am able to live on 4 HP, so Zygarde coming through really clutch right there, and for the first time all season, I am able to get Father Form, which honestly, like, Core Enforcer plus the transformation from Zygarde 50 into Zygarde Complete just made, like, Wi-Fi completely worth it. Like, just those animations. Oh, that was absolutely gorgeous. He goes into his Necrozma right here, and this is another lesson for you guys. I go straight for the 1,000 Arrows because I'm thinking, okay, he's just going to go for the Moongeist Beam, GG, you win, knock me out, shake hands after. But he freaking goes for the Moonlight, and what I should have done, what I no question should have done, was Dragon Danced up to try to play off the choke. But, I mean, I wasn't even thinking of that. I was just like, I mean, I had already had the Victini thing go badly. I had the Dialga versus Stakataka thing go badly. I was just like, whatever, I'm not feeling this anymore. So instead of playing for the choke, I just kind of mindlessly clicked. And, I mean, he tried to give me the game, but I just did not take it. I am going to go into my Mesprit, and I'm thinking the only chance I have to win right here is if he goes into Groudon as I U-turn, and I will be able to go into Shaman, kill something with Seed Flare, and then Mesprit will potentially be able to clean up the game. But he does end up staying in. You will find out why. I was wondering at the time, because I was like, what the heck, why did he stay in when a knockoff could have knocked him out there? I think that would have been like just a 50-50 that he would have gotten, that I thought that I just got wrong. But as it turns out, he will be the Colbur Berry, and Shaman will not be able to take 2 Moongeist Beams from the Necrozma. So, I mean, Mesprit will be able to come in and claim a kill on Dawn Wings. But, I mean, he still has the only way I can win this is if he has a mono Precipice Blades Groudon. Like, that's the only way I can win this at this point. And I don't know, maybe some miracle can happen, and Mesprit against a Groudon and a Dawn Wings Necrozma will be able to pull it out. Luckily for me, I mean, Knockoff with the Colbur Berry is still able to knock out his Necrozma, but as you'll see, Groudon's going to come in, and there's not much my little Mesprit can do. Like, it really tried its best. But unfortunately, this little Pixie against the Continent Pokemon just does not have what it takes to be able to take home the victory. So we will suffer our first defeat of the season, 1-2-0. So good game to Blin. And there's actually a couple of learning points from this, let's just say. First of all, check your Pokemon. Like, once you gen them, just check them. Don't assume that you did it right. Go and don't check them on the PK Hex. I mean, I didn't even check them on PK Hex. I just clicked import with auto legality mode and just went okay. But I mean, like, check them in your game, make sure they're right, make sure the hidden powers are right. And then another thing, if you are down in a game, always play to the choke. Like, play as if your opponent might give you the opportunity to get back in the game. Like, you have to play as if, yeah, well, exactly. Like, you have to play as if your opponent's going to screw up to get you back in the game. Because, I mean, had I capitalized on that gigantic choke of Moonlight, then I would have won the game. Because just 1,000 arrows, it wouldn't have knocked him out, but it would have put him in range of U-turn with my Mesprit, so that I could have come in, U-turned on the Necrozma, and then gone into Shaman. That way, if he did switch into Groudon, well, I still U-turned into Shaman for Seed Flare, and I could have also, like, if Necrozma stayed in, I still would have knocked it out with the U-turn. So, I mean, yeah, couple things. Check your team. Always check your team. That is completely on me. And also play for the choke, because who knows, your opponent might make a horrible play and let you back into the game. And I have to say, considering this is only my second Wi-Fi league and I've already had a big screw up in genning like that, I'm actually really surprised that Jolt hasn't done that at some point, because he's been playing Wi-Fi for a lot longer than I have. Like, he's actually done almost exclusively Wi-Fi apart from DPL up to this point, and he has not had a team screw up to this point. So that's very, very impressive, and I hope that he will be able to continue doing that as well. But yeah, nonetheless, hope you guys enjoyed watching this apathetic crap show. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.